Peter. Okay, so I have Erica with us from Elcrew. Hi, Erica.
Hi, Karine.
Lovely to have you. So the reason why we're doing this this month, this vlog, is to give crew a bit of an idea of what it's like to start a business and some insight into entrepreneurs in the industry and how they launched or kickstarted their career. So a bit of background about yourself. You were in the industry for about 2 years. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
And then you
Yep.
were a yacht management company, and you were a manager overseeing work in two of their companies, and realized that crew placement was a passion of yours, and that you love building relationships with people. And that is very evident from my side. If I were to tell you the truth of why I hunted you down and asked for you to join us with this interview, is because a friend of mine, she was getting into yachting this year, and she had a couple of bad experiences, so decided to leave yachting. And I was interested in how crew recruitment companies were engaging with crew, and she sent me a couple of recruitment companies and the emails that were going back and forth between herself and the recruitment company, and you were one of them. And I was just blown away by your communication style and how you treat each person like an individual. And I can see that you're very respectful to other people's needs, and I know that you want the best for people, and that really comes through. And I was like, wow, that's amazing. You don't see that very often. So that's why I'm so happy that you're here, and I would love to hear your story, and how you could advise crew with their startups, or if they're looking for a career.
I think I mean, as you've noted with my approach, I always, I do answer every email. I take the time out of my day just to give people, even if it's a really quick response, I just think it's important to acknowledge the fact that if you're on the other end of those emails, it can be really disheartening when you're sending job applications all day, every day, and you either get no response at all, or you might get an automatic response. And a lot of the emails I get are quite personal, and people get really downhearted about it all, as I say, and I'm not getting any feedback. What am I doing wrong? Am I in the wrong place? Is it me? Is it my CV? Is my experience not good enough? And it just takes a couple of minutes for me to say, it's really not you, it's this industry. It's pretty cutthroat. Just to give them a little bit of a oomph and to give them a bit more motivation. Which is what I've pretty much built my whole business on, is making it personal. And that's why it is just me. It's boutique. It's, it's always going to be just me, so that I can give people my time.
Yes. And I think that's quite admirable of you. Like, it's not like you want to take over all the recruitment companies and get as many clients on board as possible and do a really...
Absolutely not.
You're all about quality over quantity, and I love that, because that's something that we believe too. It's not about wiping out your competitor. It's focusing on yourself as an entrepreneur and what you can provide in terms of service.
Absolutely. I think everybody needs to focus. If you're setting up a new business, regardless of sector, you need to focus on what your strengths are, and and also focus on what your weaknesses are, and make sure you cover those, and don't just sort of squirrel them away and hide them away and paper over the cracks. I mean, if you find there's an area that you're not that good at, then hire someone who can help you, who's better than you are. And don't be intimidated by someone else having a better knowledge in a particular field than you. I mean, for me, I know that with the yachts I deal with, they're usually on the slightly smaller end of the scale. It's rare that I will get like 100-meter mega yacht contacting me for crew, because they tend to go via their own in-house management crew agencies. So I will always, if I get somebody in with lots of commercial experience who's suited to those sorts of roles, I'll point them in the right direction of a few agencies that I know have a good reputation, to say, look, these guys can better help you than I can. Yeah. But if you're in Palma, give us a shout, and so on and so forth.
Yeah. So, no, that's great. So, as you would know, starting a business can be quite a roller coaster. You have your ups and your downs. And how would you get through the difficult times or the challenging times?
I think you've always got to focus on what made you, get up off your backside to set up originally, because that's the hardest part, I think, is having being brave enough to say, right, I'm going to quit my job, or, I'm going to invest all my savings into a business idea. And I think you mustn't lose focus of what drove you to do that in the first place, and try and harness that motivation. I mean, for me, I also believe that if you love what you do, you never work a day in your life. I mean, it's a bit of a lie. Of course, sometimes when you sat here at 8 o'clock at night, banging your head against the wall, perhaps you don't feel quite that it's not work, that it's all pleasure, but you've got to love what you do. And love the people that you work with, either if you're on your own or in a big team. You've got to love yourself as well. And also, I would say to people, don't forget to take time out, because when you do have your own business, there is always that element of fear that makes you just keep on working, because it's like, where's the next paycheck going to come from, or where's my next client going to come from? But now and again, you have to stop and just take a step back, and then you'll come back stronger and better. And also, I would say it's important to find some peers, some people around you who can help encourage, who you can bounce ideas off, and it doesn't even have to be in the same industry. I can speak to people in completely different industries who have completely different jobs, but it's just and then you get a fresh input and a fresh outlook on what you're doing, rather than when if everyone I spoke to was all yachting related, things would get a bit boring. It's good to speak to other industries. But I think it's important to have a good network. And sometimes if the creative juices are not flowing, sometimes it's good just to pack up and say, you know what, I'm going for a walk, or I'm going to the pub, or I'm going to call my mum, or whatever it is, and just clear off for a bit and then come back later or tomorrow.
And use your intuition. And I like that in terms of reaching out to I guess they're called mentors as such in various fields, because say for example in recruitment, it's not only crew placement, it's marketing, it's just like operational logistics that you need to look into. So it's starting it's just so diverse and varied. Like, I have learned so much in 7 months. Like, I think I'm now like a web developer and social media. You just gotta immerse yourself. And as you said, I think in your email, is that it's just nonstop learning. And a bit of a funny story, like, I'm addicted to my podcast, and I just want to consume as much information as possible. So now I have learned. I was meeting up with my brother, and he's like, "What are you listening at?" And it was my podcast, but it's played at double the speed, because I'm just like, I just want to learn as fast as possible. Because I've been listening to them for so long, I slowly, incrementally increase the speed, and my brain has learned to absorb that information. But I love what you have to say. I love who you are. I love your brand, and I think you're doing an amazing job. And people on my Instagram feed yesterday were commenting, they go, "Oh my God, you're interviewing Erica, she's amazing, she's such a lovely person, so talking about you all over the world."
I feel famous. I feel like a bit of a celeb. It's great.
But thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it.
No problem. And I'm always happy to field questions from people, in the industry, if it's to do with starting up a business, or I always encourage crew to get in touch if they've got any doubts or worries about what's going on their boat or with their job hunt, or, and I'll always try and give impartial advice.
Nice. Thank you for that.
Relatively. Yeah, no worries.
Okay, well, I'll speak to you soon.